Very, very complex engineering that took a long time.
Tell us about ALEC's approach to innovation.
Ideas come out of challenges.
I know ALEC is looking at modular construction. Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Industry Spectrum. Today I have the pleasure of hosting two guests from ALEC on the show. Imad Itani, the Innovation Manager, and Sean McQue, the Director of Construction. Gentlemen, welcome to Industry Spectrum and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
ALEC is among the most successful names on the Middle East construction scene. What are some of the reasons behind the success and the culture that drive it?
ALEC has always tried to create an environment where everyone can succeed. And I think that's one of probably the key things. And I think we've managed to really keep quite a deep culture of innovation in the business. And we've always been a business that it's very easy to embed a new idea if we decide we want to do it. We can do it in a day.
So you've stressed innovation. Tell us about ALEC's approach to innovation and how do you make sure that it is in service of the business, it's purposeful and impactful?
Innovation started since ALEC was born around 21 years ago. But then 7 years ago, a group was formed to look at how can we do innovation better. And the recommendation was to have a small department that focus on innovation. And what this department role is to actually manage all these initiatives happening across the company. Now, how we do innovation in ALEC is first we look at the business goals and we try to match what the business is trying to achieve. From there, we have a complete innovation framework all the way from, it starts with people at our core, as we said before, people is our core asset. Then we have continuous improvement, sustainability and environmental, all the way to technology and automation to new business opportunities. Many things that work in Europe or in the US might not necessarily work in this part of the world. And we're very area-oriented, labor-oriented, and then construction-oriented too.
We have the gorgeous backdrop of One Zabil to our conversation today, and as a landmark being built by ALEC, what can you tell us about it, and what are some of the things that you're doing differently in constructing the project?
The key thing, as you can see, I mean, the defining kind of thing of One Zabil is the cantilever, right? So I mean, that was a very tricky thing to get right. In many ways, it's record-breaking. I mean, I think it's the world's longest cantilever. Obviously, you can't build that in the air, so the process of constructing it was very complex. It all got built on the ground. It was incrementally launched, and then the whole bridge was pulled up into place using strand jacking. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is there's more steel in that bridge than in the Eiffel Tower. And we couldn't jack the cantilever itself just on its own, so we had to pull the whole bridge up into place. The cantilever got built separately, and then we lifted the cantilever using the bridge. So very, very complex engineering that took a long time. And I think one of the also very interesting things about it was the two towers were actually built out of plumb, because when we pulled the weight of the bridge up onto them, that pulled the towers back in again. So it had to be completely engineered to understand how the movements would take place once the bridge got pulled into place.
This is some of the opportunities and challenges that come with such landmarks that we build in this part of the world. You're trying to lift 8,500 tons of steel, and you're trying to align towers. And now you have to think about how do we actually do it in a safe way, efficient, and then eventually, again, if you're monitoring one thing, you can do it. But they had to monitor 242 different things. So the team sat around the table and they discussed what can be done in a very short time. And they built a 3D model with 242 different points to be tracked at any given time. So as you're lifting this building, you have to monitor the 242 points and to see if anything is going out of tolerance. And if there is anything goes out of tolerance, it gives the right notifications to the right people, then you have to stop. But you can see how ideas come out of challenges. If this bridge was not there, we wouldn't have done this initiative, which is a complete building monitoring system.
Were any smaller initiatives that you tried on the project as well?
One of the main things in vertical transportation to send thousands of labor up and down buildings is actually the hoist. And we've tested it before. This is an initiative we started around 2 years before this project, which is monitoring the hoist, its stop time, the labor, how do they go to the floors, and all of this. So we decided to take it to the next level and we monitored all the hoists on this project, which is we have 10 hoists. We monitored all of them. We know the stop time. We know where the labor are at, and we improved around 42% of the efficiency of every single stop.
I know ALEC is looking at modular construction, and I am a very big believer of its prospects. Having said that, it's still not mainstream, although it's not something new. How would ALEC bring modular construction to the market more effectively and in a more impactful way?
I mean, we've been looking at modular construction for a long time because, when you think about it, it just makes so much sense in construction. We do so much work on the job site. We bring, all the small elements, and we, from scratch, put everything together on the site. So it just makes so much sense, the philosophy of trying to do as much work as you can off the site in a controlled environment where it's safer, you can achieve much higher levels of quality, you're not bringing materials onto site and taking a whole lot of waste away, the number of people you need on site is much lower. I mean, we all understand the benefits of off-site construction and assembly.
On one Zabil, BIM was not a requirement, but our MEP internal sister company decided to use BIM. And what that allowed them is to modularize. And because they modularized, they started to modularize their support system. And you can see how this whole sequence worked.
So we're talking about trends that are helping the industry move forward. One of the stagnant things in the industry, I believe, is the industry model with very rigid rules. So you've got an owner who hires someone to do a concept, and then hires someone to do detailed design, someone to build, and someone to supervise. And obviously, this is a simplification. How do you see these roles evolving in the future?
So I see one of the big changes coming will be we will move from the traditional way of contracting to actually a more collaborative manner of engagement using these new technologies. Collaborative platforms.
I mean, the type of contracts today somehow limits innovation as well, because, take an example, you came up with a great solution and you go and propose it to a consultant. Today, in the current contract, the incentives are there to not allow things to move forward, while you want it completely the opposite way. You want to propose a solution, as we said about agility. You want people to be open for it.
They need to choose a partner. They need to trust, which is a big thing that's missing at the moment. And we need to create examples that show the industry that we can get better results if we collaborate properly.
You've spoken about modular that started as a project internally and now is potentially a revenue stream for the company. Where do you see your business model going in the next 5 years?
I think there's still going to be a lot of effort around trying to get as much stuff done off-site as possible. We still worry and think about that a lot. And I believe we'll definitely see huge leaps in terms of getting work done off-site and projects becoming more of a logistics kind of operation. One of the things we're noticing that's becoming very important is how do you pull all of this together on one platform that's open to all the stakeholders, satisfies the full life of a project from inception through to asset management, and actually pulls the right solutions together in the right way. I think that's the next challenge.
Digitization will definitely continue to be a big trend moving forward, and especially after COVID. I mean, we've seen a huge transformation internally, even with the type of ideas we're getting, with the implementations going on after COVID. We have robotics, obviously, is starting to happen in the construction industry, much more than before. We can see all the startups are getting excited to go into this industry.
And the paths that you're talking about, they converge. So you've mentioned, for example, 3D printing. Additive allows designers to give you more complex shapes, yet using less material, which is more sustainable. So I really like how you have all these different tracks going in parallel, and then, getting you to a better or more sustainable business model. Gentlemen, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for tuning in. Until I see you again, please stay safe.